PokeMoshPit, what's been happening? It's Wilechase here, bringing you a standard OU match against my good friend Blingox24. I know you guys don't really care for standard matches, but look at it this way. The past, 15 uploads have been random fun matches, so you need to know you fix once in a while. I know you guys don't appreciate it as much, but it's still a really fun match I had against Blingox24. We're both using weather teams. I'm using a rain team, he's using a sand team, so we'll see how it plays out. We both lead off with our Rotoms, because I'm thinking he'll want to lead off with Hippo, but he predicts me to lead with Politoed, so he's going to Volt Switch right out, and I have a cat in my lap, I know. I knew he'd Volt Switch, so I go right for Hydro Pump, predicting anything. He goes out to Jirachi to tank my hits. I go for the Wilechase just to burn him. I unfortunately missed my Hydro Pump from before. He body slams me, gets the para, unfortunately, so that'll kind of hurt. I don't want to switch out because I want to get some health back, plus he does try to go for another body slam, predicting my switch. And yeah, there's a cat who wants to lay on my lap. She is a cat. And so yeah, I decided to switch out here to go to my own Jirachi so I can get my rocks going, just so that you know, I can hit him if he wants to actually switch eventually in this match. But he knows he can get his witch recovery easily enough, so he's gonna stay in, try and get the para on me with body slam. But I just let my rocks get some, you know, rocks. I don't know, but got my rocks up. He got his witch recovery, unfortunately, but I do have ways to deal with Jirachi later on. But that'll have to wait a little bit. So I'm going to go to Politoed, get my weather up. Since neither of us have our weather up, I figure I might as well get the first advantage with my weather. I don't want to go to Gliscor just yet, because I know he's firing off body slams, which could potentially be really bad for Gliscor. So I want to hold off on that until I get the proper opportunity where he's not body slamming. So yeah, he does get the power off with body slam, unfortunately, but I'm just going to go for Scald. He goes out to Rotom knowing I'd want to go for Scald. So that's just fine, and I know I can live a Volt Switch from this thing, so I want to go for Toxic in case he randomly wants to stay in, predicting me to predict the Volt Switch, which he does predict me to go to Gliscor, predicting the Volt Switch, and he wants to go for Hydro Pump, but I get the Toxic off on him, which won't really be as much use later, but, you know, the thought of it was nice. So I go for Scald knowing he'll want to switch. He goes into Jirachi, because I am assuming it's Special Defense Jirachi, and that is probably one of the best Special Defense walls in this game, besides Ferrothorn, but, beside the point, he goes for Wish to get some recovery going, and he's going to Iron Head me and get his recovery. So that's actually going to be a common trend in this match, is him getting the Wish off and then Iron Heading to get his recovery. So it'll get annoying after a while, but works out for him. So I'm going to go to Rotom, because I know he'll probably want to Wish and Iron Head again. So figure a Hydro Pump, since it is Stab in the rain and I am max special attack modest, I'm figuring a Hydro Pump should be able to do a substantial amount. But again, he goes for that flinch, which is pretty annoying, but he does get his recovery, which is good for him, and I'm just going to try and go for Hydro Pump again, but I miss on his Wish, so really, I'm missing out on mainly just figuring out how much damage I'd really do to him. So he's going to go out to his own road and try and get the recovery for himself, but luckily for me, I do break through the para and the miss and hit him with Hydro Pump and kill him off. So he goes into Latios now. I know his specs, just from the trend of his team, and even if it's not specs, since it is in the rain, I can take an HP Fire with Jirachi, so I go to Jirachi just because it is my special defense Jirachi. Take a Draco Meteor fairly well, and I probably should have switched here knowing he'd want to switch, but I was like, just in case he pulls some weird move, I'm going to stay and go for Body Slam, but he actually goes out to Hippo. So, for one, he can get his own rocks up, and two, basically wall my Jirachi. But I do get the Paralyze off. Not too useful in the long run, but again, it's the thought that counts, even though I would have really preferred it on some other guys, but oh well. So, I go into Politoed just to get my weather going instead of his, because it's a weather war. Whoever gets their weather up last wins, so I figure, hey, let's get mine up. So he's going out to Skarmory, just try and lay up some spikes, and it looks like from this damage he might be special defensive, but first of all, that's a crit, so I actually can't really judge it that much. But as you'll see next turn, I really don't do that much, and yeah, crit was unfortunate, but let's look back on the other hacks. I'm just kidding, but I go for Scald. Doesn't do as much as I would like it to. Maybe he's not special defensive. Maybe I'm just crazy, but who knows. But I do get the burn off, which means his survivability will be lowered a little bit. But judging by the Roost recovery, the thing is he's recovering more than I'm scalding off, so it's really not working out for me, even though, as you see there, look, I am really in a losing battle right now. So I'm just going to opt to switch out to my Rotom just to fire off a Thunder. and try and take him out, since he really has nothing that wants to switch on any of Rotom's potential attacks, just because it would do massive damage to anything. It's really not favorable for him at all. But next turn, he will opt to switch out to his Latios, just because it's the best thing he has to take any of my hits, even if it won't take it well. But I get the Paralyze, which I was going to go for Thunder, and if I got any Thunders off on this Latios, it would have been really good. So here he predicts me to switch out to Jirachi, so he goes for the Trick, and I get the Specs, and I get Paralyzed again, and then again, so I miss out on a normal Specs Thunder, or a normal Thunder, and then 2 Specs Thunders, which any of those Thunders would have helped me out so much later in the match, just from the damage, and you'll see why later. But for now, he kills me off with 2 Dracos, so he's at -4. It's favorable for me to go into Breloom now, since Breloom doesn't have that good a special defense, and even at -2, I wouldn't have liked switching in. So he brings in Skarm as I sub up, just because I know he's got a lot of guys that are status, and Spore didn't really seem like the best option. So he's going to Brave Bird me as I go for the Focus Punch, just because I'm figuring Focus Punch should be able to take him out from what he's at, and if not, then Burn should be able to finish him off. But I do finish him off right there, which is pretty nice. But he's going to go into Latios. But since he did trick his Specs away, I can go into Jirachi and wall him even easier now, since no Specs. But he does go for the Surf, knowing I'd want to go to Jirachi, but it really doesn't do that much since the Specs are gone. Even with the Rain Boost, it still isn't really doing anything. So he's going to go to Hippo just so that he can do a lot of damage to me. Or, do a lot of damage to me and wall me. So I went for the Wish just in case. Even if Latios wanted to stay in, I could take hits for days. And if he did switch, got a Wish. So I tried to go for Iron Head here to try and do what he was doing earlier. But of course, I have no luck of the sort, and I just get taken out by the Earthquake and basically waste a Wish, which, that's just a salt in the wound there. But I'm going to go into Breloom here, just Seed Bomb him as he goes for Ice Fang. It does look to be a 2 KO, and I knew I could take any hit you want to go for, so it seemed like the better idea to go to Breloom instead of anything else. So I'm just going to go for Seed Bomb again, take him out, and now his weather is gone, so I can get my weather up later, and more or less have the advantage, because again, like I said, in Weather Wars, whoever gets their weather up last is going to be the winner, basically. So he brings in his Excadrill, and because, like I said, in the Weather War thing, that's the main reason Weather Wars is because Excadrill is a real problem to opposing weather teams usually, but if you can get your weather up last, Excadrill has no way to abuse any of its weather anymore. So, well, whoever gets their weather up last, if you have Excadrill, you get your weather up last, you have the advantage, but if they get their weather up last, then you have the disadvantage. So, yeah, I saw the balloon, went out to Gliscor, take the hit, Ice Fang, the Excadrill, get rid of the balloon, and I predict him to go to Latios, so I Ice Fang again, and if I got at least one of those Thunders off, he'd be so low, it would just, man, like, you'll see later again from stuff. So he takes out Breloom, because I didn't want Gliscor to die just yet, since he did have the Excadrill. Even though I do have things that outspeed it, I would have preferred just to have Gliscor there. So I bring in my Voltros, who should be able to take him out with an HP Ice, but he goes out to his Jirachi. I'm not confident in Jirachi being able to, or not Jirachi. I really need to learn how to narrate, man. But I'm not confident with Thundurus being able to take down Jirachi with a Thunder, so I'm going to go out to Gliscor just to wall him for a little bit. But he's going to go for Body Slam, thinking I want to stay and go for the Thunder. Hold on a second. Phlegm in my throat. But anyways, he went for something. Or no, but I predicted him to go out to his Latios, so I went for Ice Fang. He goes for Wish there, and I'm thinking he'd want to pass it out to his Latios, but he doesn't, which is weird. So I went for Ice Fang. I missed, which if he went out to Latios, more salt in the wound, man. Really would have been. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake here, and he continues to stay in just to kind of bait me into going for the Earthquake eventually so that Latios gets a free switch. So he goes for Wish here. Again, I really cannot risk him going into Latios, so I want to keep Ice Fanging. And since Jirachi really doesn't present a threat, even with the Wish recovery, I am still doing more than he recovers. He isn't really a threat to me, so I do feel comfortable just going for those Ice Fangs, even if it seems like I'm not really doing much to him. So here, he's almost at full. I feel like he wanted to repeat the process of again going for the wish, but he decided to go right out to Latios, and I'm pretty sure a Specs Thunder could have done that little amount he has left, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he would have been dead at that point, but oh well. So I'm going to get to Politoed so I can get that little bit of weather up before he dies, and he's going to go for Surf just to try and hit Gliscor, but doesn't do too much to Politoed even with the rain, but he's just going to go for the Draco this turn, and it should do a lot, but I'm thinking I might be able to live it, get an Ice Beam off, but he gets the crit. Don't really know if that mattered or not. If you guys want to run calcs for me, that's cool, but I'm not really sure it mattered just because I am a defensive Politoed, not special defensive, so I don't know, but his specs was gone, but who knows? Who knows? So again, I go into Voltros, just go for the HP Ice to be safe, but he's going to go into Jirachi, and I'm feeling more confident now, looking that he's going to be in yellow after the burn. I'm thinking a Thunder should be able to take it out even if he's special defensive, so I'm like, fuck it, let's go for it. And it does take him out, fortunately, so things are looking up. You know, after getting hacked to death, it's looking good. But he goes out to Excadrill, and I miss the Focus Blast, which means I have nothing for the Latios now. Because even if I switched out, he had Rocks up, so I couldn't switch out, so I had to go for it. And if Excadrill didn't die, it would have been his game. But now, since I have nothing to take out Latios, it is basically his match, but he flinches me a couple times, but now he's just like, screw it, I'm gonna go for X-Scissor. He's really feeling terrible about the hack, so I'm able to take him out of the Earthquake, at the very least I do that, but yeah, so now he's gonna go to Latios, and he actually goes for the HP Fire, so that I have a chance to go for Ice Fang and win the game, which really he shouldn't have done that. He should have just gone for the kill and won the match, even if it was hacksy as fuck. Yeah, whatever, but it's still a good game, Blingo. The hacks is really bullshitty. You shouldn't have given me the win, but it was still a good match regardless. So, guys, if you're still watching at this point, hope you enjoyed this long as fuck match. Yeah, make sure you go sub to Blingo, because that was really a nice thing he did at the end of the match. It was really unnecessary, but it was a really nice thing to do. He's a really cool guy, so make sure you go check him out. If you haven't checked me out yet, check me out. I usually don't have this long at matches, but, guys, I hope you enjoyed the match. Clicky-clack the like button, do all the stuff that makes you guys awesome, and, so yeah, rate, comment, sub, and later, guys.